Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Tapped Out Wrestling Podcast. I'm, of course, Nick McDaniel, and as always, I am joined by Myron.
Another day, another show, folks. Welcome to the greatest wrestling podcast on earth. Today we are wearing our collection of misogynistic t-shirts available directly at ProWrestlingTees.com. I suggest you get some. They're wonderfully comfortable.
Yeah, man. I love mine. I actually keep this one hanging up down here and sport it when we record on a weekly basis here, actually. But hey, you know, I recorded that video. I told you I'd record one this week and put it exclusively over on our YouTube channel, youtube.com. Check it out. Tapped Out Wrestling Podcast, Tapped Out Podcast Network. You know, look, we always tell you week in and week out, don't just like the page, subscribe to the page, turn on your notifications. And that specific video that I was addressing, Myron, that one was behind the paywall there. If you become a member,
yes,
it's over there. I had a little conversation with myself in the car. I said, Self, let's talk a little bit. And we talked about fans and wrestlers, how we develop our opinions, thoughts, and we become too, we fans, how we, you know, when I say we, all inclusive.
I thought you were in a car by yourself.
I wasn't in a car by myself. It was me and Self.
Okay.
I said, Self, how do we...
I said to myself.
I said, yeah. So lots of stuff, man. That's kind of the why, you know, we always say you're going to want to be a member there behind the paywall. I'll cut those videos more frequently now that I'm going to be on the road more. So we'll definitely see, because you got to make money. And like anything, we're trying to make money. So let's, of course, before we get started too hard, let's dive right into our friends over Athletic Greens.
Athletic Greens.
You're going to need a smaller cabinet, because now you can take all those supplements you're taking or not taking and replace them with this. AG1 by Athletic Greens brings 75 vitamins, minerals, whole food sourced ingredients, probiotics, and adaptogens together in one place. It might just be the most comprehensive and convenient nutritional regimen on the planet. Immunity supporting, recovery enhancing, digestion improving, energy lifting. Made to the strictest quality standards. Made New Zealand. Made for just about everybody.
That's right, man. It is made for just about everybody, whether you're trying to eat keto, paleo, everything.
It's a juice supplement, not an enema.
That's right. athleticgreens.com/emerging. Check them out. Get healthy, man. Get healthy. That's what we're all trying to do this time of year.
Look how slim. I've slimmed down. I can see most of my chins. If you're not watching on video, I suggest you watch. I'm getting so attractive. I even shaved off my homeless man beard I was growing for the most part. It does look horrible.
Yeah.
So I'm going to work on that.
That was both of our things. We both shaved off our beards, and now we just went with the goatee look. So different look altogether. But listen, different looks, things changing, things that look the same, staying the same, changing. Can't tell. Bloodline, Myron. Let's dive right into it.
Yes.
Lots of stuff going on this week with the Bloodline.
What was the phrase you used for it that we didn't understand?
We're going to get into some of the terms.
Term storytelling.
Yeah, we're going to probably misuse long-term storytelling here, like everybody as a whole. We might, if we get a chance, I'm going to dive into that a little bit down the road. But
I'm not going to talk about everybody's soul. Don't worry.
As a whole. Oh,
thank you.
Yeah, I want to clarify there. But man, look, dive in a little bit some of the stuff we were talking about. We kind of talked a little bit off air before we got on here about the arc of the Bloodline. You know, Sammy's showing up everywhere. Jay's nowhere to be found. Roman's alone. Paul's crazier than ever and looking more diabolical, as you like to say. So kind of share some of your thoughts before we get started on it, man.
I love it. I love what's going on. I hate to say it, but you know, there was a while that I got to the point I wasn't looking forward to wrestling every week. And then Paul took charge. And by Paul, I don't mean my brother Paul. I mean Paul Triple H. when he took charge of things and he got the format down the way he wanted, and all of a sudden wrestling just got so good. And I like right now, I'm looking forward to tuning into 5 hours of WWE programming a week because I'm hanging on everything that they do. I am the bloodline thing has got me. Okay. He's got Cody to the left of him, and he's got Sammy to the right, and he's stuck in the middle with Jimmy because nobody knows where Jey Uso is. You got Paul there. Solo doesn't say it. Solo got married, by the way.
Yeah, congrats.
Congratulations, Mr. Solo Sokoa, or however you say that. I never got that right. But where was Jimmy? I mean, sorry, where was Jay? Is it not interesting right now? Is it not some of the best quality programming? Because they've worked this storyline for so long. I'm invested in it.
Yeah.
They've developed Roman from a guy we all hated and we're tired of seeing, he was shoved down our throats, into somebody I can't get enough of, Nick.
Yep.
How did this develop? Where?
It just over time, man. We've discussed this, and we specifically wanted to address the promo on SmackDown, Cody and Roman, and about how some of the most, and look, somebody, it's one of two things, and I wanted to ask what the fans think. tappedoutpod@gmail.com. The fans were really, really quiet during the promo, so I was asking myself a question. By the way, I have my own answer, but I want to know what the listeners think. I was like, either these fans just don't care, or they're so intently listening that they're quiet. Because guess what both guys were not doing, by the way? They didn't grab the mics, and they weren't screaming at each other in a mic. I'm on a boot. They literally were like just determinately talking to each other. And Roman doing so some real heel shit. And what I mean by that is basically, I don't want to say invoking the name of, Dusty Rhodes, but he was like, he literally looked at him and was like, I miss him too. And we all got sucked in for a minute, like, oh shit. Like, I wish he was here too. He would see, basically, I was saying, I wish Dusty was still here. Roman speaking here, by the way. I wish Dusty was still here to see all the things I accomplished. He saw them in me all along. He knew way before I did. And almost kind of like, I wanted to say, like, he would be proud that one of his kids achieved this. He never really talked about you, though. Basically like saying, like, maybe with the rest of those other guys, but to me, the guy that really mattered, he never talked about you. I was the son he wanted. That's essentially, I was the son he wanted. Yeah.
Maybe he said something to Seth, but not to me.
Right.
Nick, Jesus Christ. How about you just put a spear in a man? Oh, God, the bottom of his heart. Oh, what would you like to talk about? You get Cody's own line. You just get everything. I knew Roman was a good promo, but I've never seen him talk.
Do you know why I think that was so effective, by the way?
Why is that?
Because for a split second, literally, it was a split second, I miss him too. I like, basically, like, I love that man. Like, for a split second, it humanized Roman, and you were like, oh, man, yeah, he really loved that dude. And then, right when you didn't expect it, he stuck the spear in Cody's heart, like I said, and you're like, oh, that's some shit. That's some dick stuff right there. Like, that was a dick move. Like, you pulled us in for a second, and then you just, like, stabbed Cody with, like, and I was like, that's why that worked. Because there was a split second that you're like, yeah, he was one of Dusty's kids. Roman, he understood what Roman was. Roman was special. He was always going to be special. Dusty saw that. But then Roman pointed out, I don't think he ever saw that in you. That's some cold-blooded shit. But, here's the but to that. I think Cody coming back and saying, that's why I have to win now. Like, now you're telling me, like, I'm not relevant. I'm not, I have to beat you. I have to be better than you. I have to be better than what my father saw in you, kind of thing. That's what I kind of got that vibe from that promo.
And you're telling me that Cody's just on the edge of turning heel. Whatever might happen, Cody, because Roman, we sitting here looking at Roman, and he is so high. All he's got left to go is down. Nick, what's going to happen at Mania?
I still to this day, and I don't know anything. If it were me, I will go back to something I said last week. Paul Heyman was smart enough, and I'm throwing up air quotes, to jump off the Brock bandwagon and go to Roman and ride that Roman train. I think Paul Heyman, by the way, can look at the Roman situation and go, lots of cracks in this armor, lots of dissension in the bloodline. Might be time for Paul to jump off of the ship and go into a new one. Has history with Cody's family. He, has history with Dusty, obviously. We insinuated that bond there when they cut their promos going back and forth. He can always blame, by the way, because in the promo, by the way, with Cody and Roman, what one line made me even think it so even more. Cody says to Roman, "You sent Paul out here to tell me the truth, not to get in my head." A point blank saying, you were the reason Paul Heyman came out here and said what he said. Almost insinuating that's not Heyman's words, they're yours. So Heyman's not to blame for this. You are. Lots of interpretation there, but that's what I heard. To me, saying now, if Paul Heyman says it's time to jump ship, by the way, I've always said and will always continue to say two things. Cody Rhodes is a better heel than a babyface. That's just my opinion. Because, and I don't think he is this way, but he can come off very arrogant and very cocky and very, like I'm supposed to be the champion. What we don't like about Roman. The second part of that is, I think heels are best when there's truth to what they say. Cody Rhodes can very much say, I was always special. Y'all didn't believe in me. That y'all being the WWE. You made me Cody. Think about it. He said in his promo at one point, you guys thought I was nothing but a sidekick to Randy. Then you made me a cartoon character in Stardust. You never believed in me that I was world champion material to the point I had to leave. You didn't think we were special enough to sell out 10,000 seats in an arena, me and my Indy buddies, right? But we did that. Now I'm back to take the chosen one that you believed in, and I'm going to take his spot. I'm going to prove it's going to be a great big middle finger, whatever you want to call it, to the company, and I think where the backhand comes, it's to the fans as well, because you didn't believe in me when I was here either. So now I'm going to show the world I am the best, and I am the champion.
I'm telling you, folks, I don't know. I mean, it wasn't hard times, but it was good. What are our kids? Well, our kids aren't wrestling fans. Your grandkids are shaping up to be wrestling fans.
I think so.
I don't have grandkids yet. I'm hoping, because I really don't like my daughter's boyfriend. You can hear that. Kid with a funny haircut.
They don't listen, so it won't matter.
Okay. Thank God. I don't really care if he listens or not, but I hope she marries a wrestling fan. But your grandkids are shaping up to be wrestling fans. Now, when you those boys tune in to YouTube videos or whatever the video they watch in their heads or on their eyeglasses or on their TVs, whatever format they watch, are they going to watch Cody cut that promo and say, this is the greatest wrestling? I don't know, man. I thought that shit was pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Was it hard times? I don't know. But then again, we always think the Andy Griffin show was the best thing ever come on television.
That's true.
So, and this kind of this is like that long argument we had about the whole. It wasn't an argument. It was a weird discussion about the whole Bray Wyatt thing. We may not get it, but maybe it ain't for us. You know, maybe that promo is the greatest promo of this whole era. That promo those two cut right there. Maybe that is the
it was
greatest.
good. I think it delivered. I don't know that I would call it the greatest promo or anything. I don't even know. The sad part is I don't even know if I would call the promo great. I think it might have been a great execution on getting where they wanted to go. And I think is that the same thing? I don't know. tappedoutpod@gmail.com.
It was a vehicle. It was a vehicle. How about that?
Yeah.
It was the best vehicle I've seen in a long time. How about Myron could not be more excited for WrestleMania than I am so excited for WrestleMania. I cannot wait. I'm looking forward to it. And we saw the poster. Did you not show me the poster with some secrets on it?
Yeah.
They let the poster out.
So
secret.
I showed Myron the poster that leaked out, had John Cena on it. Look, by the way, we record on Sundays. Monday is Raw. We release this at noon. So on Raw tonight or whenever you listen, John Cena is supposed to make an appearance. Everything is leading us down the road that he will face Austin Theory at WrestleMania. So that's going to lead to that. We will discuss that in detail next week because at that point we'll know what happened. But Myron, we did learn. Hold on. Yep. We did learn Brock Lesnar will wrestle Omos at WrestleMania. I know a lot of people aren't, and this is, by the way, twofold thing. We discussed this a little bit off air. It's not sexy, but the story's coming out, whether it's true or not, that Brock just didn't want to work with Bray at WrestleMania. And, by the way, two-part, this could be Brock's farewell. Like, this could be Brock leaving. So, what do you think?
Yesterday, I watched my dog eat a turd out in the yard. I am as excited for Brock Lesnar versus Omos as I am taking him out in the yard today and what he might do. Okay. It's going to be two big guys. It might be a better match. I don't think Omos is anywhere as talented as Brock or can do anything compared to Brock. I love MVP. Don't get me wrong. I just don't want to see Brock finish up. I don't like Brock without a manager. I'd love to see MVP manage Brock and see how that goes because I love MVP.
I like Brock without a manager. I think he's pretty funny.
There are times, but then he cuts too much. He goes too much in that dude profile, and he's just like, what in God's name is that?
But let's take a match aside, by the way. The question I wanted to ask you, what does that say that, by the way, there's the big if question. If the story is true, that he just didn't want to work with Bray for whatever reason, what does that say that Brock would rather, because if he's going farewell, by the way, he's probably going to do the favors for Omos to help make Omos. So that's now my what if he's choosing to lose to Omos versus wrestling Bray at WrestleMania? What does that say? Like, I mean, A, about Brock, B, about Bray. I mean, it's a multifold issue.
Well, there's that issue with Bray is you're not just going to lose a match. You're probably going to have somebody come out with a mask and tinkle your winkle, and somebody's going to jump in and like there's going to be smoke and a dark ring, and they're going to be puppets and shit, and you're not going to understand all of your match. And is that what you want as your farewell? If you're going to have a farewell match, is that what you want? And Bray Wyatt, okay, you go into Baskin Robbins. There's 31 flavors of ice cream. And this is something I am having trouble adjusting to. You go to a restaurant, they got a menu. It ain't all shit for me. There's a lot of stuff on that menu I don't like. But the restaurant stays open.
Okay, but to that point, this is my point exactly. Is Brock just sitting there going like, I get it. A match versus Bray would probably be more higher profile than one with Omos. But does Brock, like you, look at a match with Bray and go, that shit just ain't for me. Like, I don't want to do that. I just don't want to do that. I would rather go out there and have a big man versus big man match and lose to that big son bitch than go out there and listen, by the way, you know, we don't agree on this. I find the Bray stuff humorous. I find it very entertaining. But I could see Brock just going, I don't want any part. Yeah, it's funny. I dig the Muscle Man dance. I mean, I like entertainment. I do. I really do.
It is entertainment. It's not aimed at me.
Correct.
I have to understand that. Okay? It's a 3-hour Raw. It is selfish of me to assume every single hour of 3 hours, every single minute is going to be aimed at me.
Like every segment's not even for you.
Exactly. And it's not.
That's
it's
the kick.
not. You know, it's not wrong. It's not bad.
Yeah.
It's not good. It's just not mine.
Correct.
Triple H brought Bray back. Bray sells merchandise. Bray brings Bray hasn't wrestled but once since he's been back.
All right.
At the Rumble.
And now, by the way, I want to add to this the story we're talking about. The match he had the match, but on the Elimination Chamber mat on the card, Bray, Brock and Bobby were wrestling, and of course Bray wanted the winner. Is that why we got the goofy? I mean, look, it was a goofy ending, the low blow DQ ending,
yes.
Because at that point that he'd already been told that Brock yeah, I don't really care to win because I don't want to face this guy, and that's why they're just look, give him Omos, get him on the happy trails. By the way, there's been I don't know if you know, last night there was a UFC fight. John Jones is your new heavyweight champion. I hate to tell people this. John Jones versus Brock Lesnar would be money. That'd be a huge fight. I'm not saying that's what's going on, but if Brock Lesnar's thinking 3 steps ahead like he always does, there's a fight. There's a money fight for him there. So I'm not saying it's what he wants to do, and he might get his ass knocked out, don't get me, or submitted, but there's a big payday involved, and we know Brock likes money. So
yeah,
just saying. And then back to your Bray point, I do want to ask. We were discussed the Bray stuff. I think he's there for that reason that you mentioned. It's just about selling merch, selling this movie eventually. Although I think somebody posted that it's something about it's being put on hiatus for a little while because they're all in on the TV character. I think they're going to build it out and then release it or something. Who knows? Lots of stuff, man. There's lots of going on in the WWE, Myron. Just really, really is. But WWE is not the only one in town. We do have, of course, AEW's big pay-per-view. It is tonight, so of course, we're recording on Sunday. So if you're listening to this Monday, it would have happened. So, listen, Myron, what's your thoughts vaguely on Revolution? And then I cheated. I got the card. We're gonna go through it a little bit, make some predictions, throw in it. Look, we're not gonna go match by match in great detail because, I mean, literally, I'm looking at a 9-match card with an Iron Man match. That's a 60-minute Iron Man match. What's the
over? A lot of stuff on there.
The over and under.
That's 9 matches.
4-hour pay-per-view. Over under, Myron, is a 4-hour pay-per-view. What's your guess?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's over. That's just it is what it is. I mean, I think it. By the way, my same knock. I knocked WWE for this, and I'll knock AEW for this as well. If this pay-per-view goes 5 hours and starts at like 8 o'clock or 7 or 8 o'clock or whatever, I'm just like, dude, this is crazy. It's a 8 p.m. start. So even if it's a 4-hour pay-per-view, it's midnight. Do you want to talk about what we just had a conversation about, the demo and who you're targeting? On a Sunday night, going to a midnight on a pay-per-view. Bad idea. That's why I was all about WWE sliding them to 7 and shortening them to 3 hours and that kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and run Saturday nights. Okay, I'm sorry. Saturday nights is a much better choice for a pay-per-view, my opinion. Because even if you go to church, that still doesn't start till later.
You just couldn't know. I'm going to defend them in this sake. I just told you there was a big UFC fight last night. There was a big UFC pay-per-view card last night. They couldn't compete with that. John Jones returning was not, yeah.
You know when those things are happening.
Mm-hmm.
You don't put your shows on the same nights.
Right.
You plan this stuff.
But that's why they did a Sunday.
Okay. I can understand indie wrestling fucking up and booking a card on the same night as something important. That's indie wrestling, but not the second most important promotion in the country.
Let me ask you this, Myron. What if tappedoutpod@gmail.com, what would you think your answers would be? What if you had to run pay-per-views? What about like, I don't want to say NXT does those afternoon shows during WrestleMania weekend. Why has nobody ever tested it more to say, by the way, pay-per-views for one thing, but like streaming especially, Saturday shows starting at 5:00. They're over by 9.
Well, if you plan on running a 4 or 5 hour show, yeah. Get me the hell out of there by 10 o'clock. Let me get to the, well, I don't.
Revolution. Let me tell you something. If you're telling me that Revolution, 9 things on a Sunday, why not start it at 5:00? You know why? Their fan base, guess what they're going to do? They're still going to buy it and watch it.
Yeah.
I really want to know how many people they think they would lose by running that thing at 5:00. And even if you ran a 5-hour pay-per-view, it's over by 10. 6:00. Let's say 6:00 and you ran till 11.
I mean, who's at work on a Sunday? I mean, I've always worked on a Sunday, but typically I got out of work by 6:00. And if you look at this card, you're not going to miss anything. I mean,
I disagree.
Who watches? No, look at it. If they start the 6:00, not the pre-show, they start with an hour-long Iron Man match, miss the first 30 minutes.
That's true.
Seriously, has any value ever happened in the first 30 minutes of an hour-long match?
I wonder if they'll go 0-0, like all the way to the end, like get to the end and somebody wins 1 fall to none anyway. So, let's dive in. You started it, so let's talk about it. Who's your prediction? Bryan Danielson, MJF, 60-minute Iron Man match. I'm not going to ask you to give me falls, number of falls, and all that crap. Who's your champion at the end of the show?
I would go ahead and say Bryan Danielson because I don't think MJF stays forever.
Well, there is that rumor that he's already.
I think MJF is probably already packing bags to go to Connecticut. Let's just be honest. I think this is his resume performance.
Could be. But here's the sad fact. I'm going to tie it in. I was going to save this match for last because I wanted to tie it into another topic. My argument would be I think Bryan Danielson is the guy you put on top, a la when it was Punk was the one that I said I would have put Punk as champion because he was going to draw more eyes. I'm hoping that literally when I say Daniel Bryan, I'm saying it intentionally. I'm hoping Daniel Bryan draws attention to AEW as Bryan Danielson as champion because they need
their reality show. For the 3rd-hour reality show?
Yes. And we're going to look.
I've got a big announcement, Nick. I've got a big announcement. See if it affects our views. If you tell them I have a big announcement.
It might.
Okay.
Not. You know.
I mean,
listen. Look, and we'll sidebar real quick because that was the whole thing that we were going to address, and you're bringing it up now, so I'll talk about it. Eric Bischoff broke down the storytelling, the ratings, all that crap, the stuff that we always love to talk about, right? They on February the 16th, they drew 824,000 people watched Dynamite on Wednesday. They teased the major announcement that they were going to have on February 22nd. Huge news. It was going to be, and over 1 million people tuned in and watched. And the danger was, by the way, here's the funny thing. Prior to that episode, Bischoff brought up the dangers of continually making promises. He made a Freudian slip on this week's episode when he accidentally said, he meant to say Tony Khan continuing to make big promises and under-delivering, but he said, when Dixie Carter keeps making promises, and he was like, I meant Tony Khan, because he's like, this is exactly what Dixie would do. Big announcement, huge announcement, blah, 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 over and over. And after a while, the fans were like, not only are you not delivering, you're just turning us off because you continuously do this. Like his thing was like the announcement of a 3rd hour of, on Wednesdays following Dynamite of a reality show Listen, I'm not saying it's a terrible idea, but you could have just made that announcement and not teased it like it was this huge thing, because 1 week later, you're back to 833,000 people. If it's a huge deal, like as he points out, this is where I always tell people you have to be careful. In my line of work, by the way, this is where and I'm training somebody, and I'm having to say, don't get excited. Don't get too excited about something that feels like it's big, and don't get too disappointed in something that feels like it's too low. You've got to learn to temper your reactions over time and just look at the long-term game. Same thing here. We got all super excited. Oh, shit, they broke 1 million. It was a huge deal. Then do you come back and go, shit, it was 833. We lost those 200 that we picked up last week. If one gets this reaction, you got to give this one reaction as well. My thing was, look at the long term and look for consistency, because that matters more than peaks and valleys. You want that like a straight line.
I'm trying, Nick. You know, Nick, I try to watch the show. I try to give these people the benefit of the doubt. I try to get excited about this because a lot of my friends people I know wrestle on these shows. People I know are producing on these shows. I really want this stuff to succeed. I really love wrestling. I've loved wrestling my whole life. I got another wrestling company competing. But sometimes, and look, Dave Wills, one of my closest friends, met Tony Khan and said Tony Khan was a great guy. I trust his judgment. But when I turn on these shows and I see shit like that, and I get these matches, it's hard for me. I'm trying not to turn into Jim Cornette, but some of this stuff.
Focus on the positive, though. That's the only thing that I can tell you is the same thing I'm in those training sessions that I'm telling you. If fans will stop looking for the negative and look for the positive. Now, on this card, by the way, I can tell you there's a couple of matches that I'm really excited for. By the way, the MJF Bryan Danielson match is one of them. By the way, I don't like Iron Man. I don't like Iron Man matches, by the way. Everybody knows that. But I'm still wanting to see this match. I think it has an opportunity for MJF to I think this will elevate him more than anything he's done to this point, in my opinion. But at the same token, Jeff Jarrett, Jay Lethal, the Guns, the Acclaimed, and Orangehausen, whatever they're calling themselves, and a 4-way for the tag belts. I made a joke off air, Myron. There's more experience in Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal's team than the other three combined.
That's the team that faced Ric Flair in his final match.
And by the way, by my argument, I would argue I'd make them the tag champions.
Dude, I'd pick that team over anybody.
Yeah. You said, by the way, you were excited. You had said Samoa Joe and Wardlow. You would like that match.
Yes, that's a match I would want to see.
Yep. By the way, I like Jericho and Starks. I know you're not a huge fan of it, but I like it because it's a chance for Chris Jericho, because probably going to put over and help build another star.
Okay.
So that's kind of why. Listen, I am not a trios title person. I think the trios title was nothing more than created than to give the Bucks and Kenny Omega something to do. That's just my take.
Hopefully for them, keep Kenny Omega in AEW.
I disagree. We'll have that argument another day. But if it were me, I would give the House of Black the titles, and you know why I think they will? They seemed like they were disgruntled as of late, so you're supposed to give them the belts to make them happy for a little while. Isn't that how it works today? You didn't even. It was funny. You were like, Jungle Boy's still on the roster. I'm like, yeah, they're building him up against Christian, man. I think that kid's got a lot of potential, by the way. I really do. For AEW, I don't think he's a WWE guy, but I think he's got a lot of potential for AEW. Take that for what it is. And then, of course, the women's titles in a 3-way: Saraya, Jamie Hayter, Ruby Soho. Do you think they changed the belt off? They put it on one of those other two? I don't believe so.
Doesn't Saraya have a list of stuff you can't do to her?
I think she's cleared now.
I've liked Ruby Soho since she was in WWE. What?
I just popped myself in my head.
So you better not pop that one.
I'm not going to say it. I
Okay.
was like, 'cause,
I've seen some of it on camera, the stuff you can do to her.
no,
So.
no. It was you were going to say, like, doesn't she have a list of things that you can't do from her? And I
No,
thought,
you're supposed to not attack her from behind. Oh, God, I did it.
you get it. You got where I was going. So, yeah.
I'm not trying to do this, people. I'm trying to keep this a
Why
PG
do you think
rated
I caught
show.
myself and stopped myself from saying? I was going to say, yeah, aren't you not supposed to come at her from behind? And then I'm like, oh, wait, maybe. Who knows? Anyway, let's move on.
Alberto Del
By the
Rio.
way, if it were me, if you were going to change titles, I do think she's the one you put it on. You know why?
Soraya?
Yeah. The biggest name in that ring. By the way,
Yeah.
Ruby Soho, talented. I'm not saying I'd put her as the champion, but I'm not saying I wouldn't either. Hayter's already got the title. If you're gonna make it, I say Saraya. It's a name. It'll be a big deal. It'll be on a lot of the dirt sheets. It'll be a big deal. So if that's and we look, a lot of it when I say decisions we're making, if that's the crowd you're catering to, you kind of have to do that, right?
Yeah.
So a lot
Fair
of my
enough.
predictions aren't even necessarily what I would want to see or what I would do. I'm just saying, like, if you're catering to that crowd, that's who I'm picking as winners. But just saying. So anyway, so it should be a good card. We will see. I think they're doing it at movie theaters again tonight and whatever. So if you want to,
I like that idea. I mean, if I could get in for I don't know what it charges to get in for a movie theater.
Last time I checked, it depends on when you're going. If it's at night, I know the one close by here, it's like $15 or something like that. And I'm like,
I would do that. Provided I could. Well, I don't know. People know about my personal issues right now, but I can't drive. I'm not a DUI. I'm having health issues.
But Myron, here's my argument. If it's going to cost me $15, $17, you're going to go in and you're going to get a popcorn. You're going to go in and get a Coke or something like that. I'm not saying I would. I'm saying if you do, go in and get candy and so whatever. Just sit at home and watch it and buy the pay-per-view.
It's like $40.
That's what I'm saying. Just sit at home and buy the pay-per-view. You're just not getting to watch it on a big giant screen. And I'm like, last time I checked, I don't need that. Because if the damn thing's not going to be over till midnight, I don't want to drive home at midnight.
Well, you got a point. Also, like, this chair is really effing comfortable. I actually rebuilt it twice. And I sit really close to this television, so it's not like it can get any bigger.
Pick a TV.
So,
that's what I tell people. Pick a TV.
Yeah, and you got TVs everywhere. So
yeah.
I sit here most of the time anyway these days.
Yeah. So anyway, so hopefully I hope they knock it out of the park. We wish them nothing but the best tonight at the pay-per-view. So
yes. Well, I mean, it's good for wrestling. Anytime they do good, it's good for wrestling, and I want them to do well.
Yeah.
It's just not for me right now. Please make something for me.
No, 100%, man. I agree with you. Listen.
And deathmatch wrestling, Texas deathmatch on a pay-per-view? No, not for me.
I addressed deathmatch wrestling here's the other thing about being happy, about understanding about how there's so many things. One of those that video that I cut, I explained, like, deathmatch wrestling isn't for me. In the grand scheme of things, I do like it in doses. I like a match here and there. I just don't like a whole card of it. But I respect the fact that there are guys that like Nathan chasing his dream. That's what he wants to do. And I'm like, kudos to that kid, for doing what he's.
I love that guy.
Yeah,
I love that guy. His girlfriend is phenomenal. Also, great people. I like Tank and Dan.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not saying anything. Like I said, I like it in doses. I just don't like entire shows built on it, and that's okay because guess what? I wasn't buying the ticket, so it's not geared towards me. It was geared to the guy that was going to buy the ticket and come and see it. Yeah. And that's just like a continuous thing, right? But hey, speaking of which, I do want to address. I don't have a ton of the details, but Cruel made an appearance on the show.
I heard that.
I guess what's the word you like to say? The rumors of his demise obviously were greatly exaggerated. We saw the great video. I shared it on social media. I put it out as well. That was released out.
That scared the shit out of me.
It did.
Why, y'all got to do stuff. Them eyes coming out of the ground. Y'all got to do stuff like that to me.
Yeah. So I'm excited. I hope that means there is going to be more Cruel appearances. I want to bring it up. There's a big showdown in Augusta. He's the IWE champion. Will he not be there? I don't know. But we're going to find out like I said, this Saturday, you're going to find out down in Augusta at IWE.
Oh yeah.
They've got a big
That's gonna
show
be
coming
cool.
up. Lots of stuff, man.
Bringing in Crystal Rose, bringing in Happy Madness. A lot of my favorite teams and favorite people are going to be down there. I can't wait till I can get to some more wrestling shows. I'm so excited about Southern Fried coming up. Got Southern Honor skipping this month. Guys, I rode by we had to go up to Helen the other day, and I rode by Landmark Arena, and God, you talk about emotional. I just got so emotional. That place meant so much to Georgia wrestling, and you see these guys that are working cards all over the place now that were Landmark. I guess home crowd, if you want to call it that. I know they're still Azrael's still training up there, and thank God for him. But God, that place meant so much, and there's so many people work there. Oh man, I know just being a wrestling fan, it's weird that I would feel that way about a building that I just attended shows at and never, I didn't work, but that place was, oh man, I saw so many cool things there and met so many amazing people there.
Yeah.
I wish it was back up and running. God.
I mean, like I said, man, until then, hit the road, man. Go. There's Monroe, there's Canton, there's, Augusta, there's South Georgia. There's lots of shows running around. There's all these other ones. Look, I want to come back to IWE for a second. White Mike versus Zicky Dice is on the card.
That's cool.
Anthony Henry is going to be wrestling at night on the card. Billy Brash and Murder One. That'll be a brawl from hell right there, boy. Those. You brought up the Ducks versus Happy Madness. That one will be a good one. Let's see. I'm trying to catch everything on here. All-Star Special. Our boys, the All-Star Special versus the Exotic Youth, man. I mean, that one. Since adding Jay Too Strong, I think there's a great new twist to the All-Star Special. I think they've got a lot of, they're going to be somebody that now can go toe-to-toe with Exotic Youth because they've got 3 members each, right? So that'll be a good twist.
Freebird rule. Who the hell ain't heard of the Freebird rule? Come on, folks.
Yeah. AC Mack, Shug D, Tim and Joe Black in a tag. Crystal Rose, Lindsay Snow, 1-on-1. Like, just card's pretty stacked, man. If you can,
dude.
We actually were planning to go. My wife had actually committed to go with me, but I had completely forgotten. It was on my calendar. But I had completely forgotten we have an awards banquet for work that night. So I will actually not be at Augusta. I'll be on the other end of the state up at Unicoi up in Helen at the lodge up there. Exactly. So I went literally going to go from one extreme to the other, it seems like. But I wish them nothing but the best. I hope they have a great show. Lots of top-notch talent on the card. So definitely check them out. But we're excited, man. Lots of stuff going on. But hey, I'm going to continue to cut these videos, and I'm going to continue to put them in the one place that you can find them. Wink. That's not true exactly. But over on YouTube, youtube.com, Tapped Out Wrestling Podcast, Tapped Out Podcast Network. Get all of our videos. Get them there early if you're a member as well, by the way. The regular shows there come out early. But make sure you're liking the page, subscribing to the page, turn your notification on to become a member to get those exclusive videos as well as getting them early. And by the way, there's other videos that we put there from time to time. I've got one that I'm going to drop probably this week. It'll be public, but it'll be from a collaboration project with somebody. But we do understand, look, lots of people that are, audio listeners listening to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartMedia, Amazon Music, Google Podcasts, anywhere and everywhere there's a podcast platform. We are there. So making sure you're subscribing, give us a 5-star rating and review. We greatly appreciate it, man. Lots of stuff going on, man. Anything else you got on, man? It's a Sunday.
Yeah, I got a bit of commentary. I'm working on some videos myself. I'm just having trouble with focus these days. I'm looking like an aged what's his name?
An aged pharmacist.
No, Kevin Sullivan. I'm looking like an aged Kevin Sullivan. That's it. I might have to shave my head a little bit, but I saw this week somebody and multiple people have reposted it, a picture of a ring with a log under it. And I also saw that picture of a broken ladder in AEW. we've only put on one show as a wrestling promoters, but I think you're doing the workers a disservice. People are out there putting their life on the line in a ring for you for your entertainment. If you give them shitty equipment and shoddy equipment to work with where they could hurt themselves,
Wouldn't we classify that as a farmhouse look?
yes,
It was a decor.
it's
It was a statement.
yeah, it's I don't know. I don't watch enough of those home shows to know what kind of stupid shit that is. But don't hurt these people. They put their lives on the line for your entertainment. If you got to put a log under a ring, don't run your show. You can't afford to run your show. So don't run it. You can rent a ring from a lot of people. A lot of good people rent rings. Ox, talk to Ox's people. YJ, a lot of people. David Manders got rings.
There are people
Talk to
out
some
there.
folks.
Yeah.
There are people out there that can get you a good solid ring. Don't skip on rings and have somebody getting hurt because these people, these wrestlers put their lives on the line. Get a good ladder. Get some more ladders. Pay attention to what y'all are doing because these people, I mean, that's just too much.
Yeah.
It's just too much. Don't take any chances with people's lives. If you can't put a good ring together, don't run the wrestling show.
I agree.
And that's my take on it for this week, folks.
Well, is that it, brother? Anything else?
That's it. I ain't got nothing.
All right. Well, what's the old saying, brother? If I've got nothing, you've got nothing. What time is it?
It's time to tap out.